This is The Instigators, presented by Seneca Resorts and Casinos. Nothing else comes close.
We are going to overtime!
Oh, Marty, the hockey ops department has worked overtime this year. When you consider there have been 37 players dressed for the Sabres through the All-Star break, and Rochester's had 41 guys on their roster throughout the course of this year, that means constant change. But with it comes opportunity. And isn't it something within our game when you see someone take hold of that opportunity, like we've seen with Rochester's Brandon Biro this year, 22 points in his last 18 games, and at the time of this recording, tied for 6th in rookie scoring in the AHL.
It is pretty impressive, and you said it right. We talked about Jack Quinn, JJ Peterka, Peyton Krebs, Matthias Samuelsson, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. It's like, oh, look at all these prospects from Rochester. Well, there's other prospects and guys that need to step up when they have the opportunity. When everybody's there, maybe you don't get as much ice time, but then all of a sudden you see guys getting called up. You say, that could be me. I'm going to show them what I can do. And Brandon Biro has taken that attitude and that mentality to the ice, and he's performed well. And he's a prospect that we need to keep paying attention to.
And when you're serious about the game, bet on Buffalo at the only sports books in Western New York. Seneca Resorts and Casinos sports betting counters are open daily, and self-service betting kiosks are available 24/7 at all 3 locations. So whether you visit Seneca Niagara, Allegheny, or Buffalo Creek, the Sports Lounge features the latest lines and multiple screens so you never miss a play. The Sportsbook at Seneca Resorts and Casinos, where the love of the game meets the thrill of the win. What has led to the hot streak, Brandon? It has been terrific to see the production of late. How are things going?
Things have been going pretty well for myself personally. Obviously, from a team standpoint, we haven't been winning as much. We've had some of our key players, I guess, called up to the NHL or been injured down here, unfortunately. But it's obviously opened the doors a little bit for some guys like myself to maybe play a little bit more, get a little bit more opportunity, and I think it's been going pretty well.
I love the answer. Usually guys would say, oh, I've got great teammates. It's going well. I got great teammates. No, but have you changed your teammates? Is there a reason why the offense is clicking in a little bit now? Maybe different wingers, different, chemistry. What has there been a change in that way?
Yeah, I think so. I think the last, couple weeks or so, been having a little bit more consistently with line mates, been playing with Peterka and Weisbach. And I think, we all play pretty similar styles. I think we're all pretty quick players, like to have the puck on our stick, like to make plays. And I think we've really, fed off that as a line. And I think the offensive numbers have kind of been because we've had the puck a lot. I think we've been pretty dangerous, most nights. So having a little bit of continuity with who you're playing with definitely, helps out a lot, especially when you got, some great players like Peterka and Weisbach.
All right. I feel like we have done this with literally every Sabres prospect at forward the last number of years. Do you prefer center or the wing?
I actually like center. I had never played center really in my life until I got, to Rochester here, and I guess been playing it the last 2 years, and starting to grow on me. I think face-off's still a little bit of a struggle. I'm not going to lie there. Pretend like they're good, but I've actually been liking center. I feel like you're on the puck a lot and kind of getting more used to it.
Now, okay, you have a great retired centerman that you can talk to in Kevin Adams, the general manager in Buffalo. And years ago, when we were at the Academy of Hockey in Buffalo here, he had a video out. I have to find the video. Maybe it's on YouTube somewhere. And Kevin would be talking about owning the dot, really getting over that face-off dot, gets your head in the way. Like, are you one that likes to crowd the dot, or you like to finesse your way out of draws? Like, and if you had to talk with Kevin, would you like to follow his advice, or would you say, the game's changed a little bit?
I mean, I haven't really talked to Kevin much about that, but I'm sure he's got some pretty good advice. It's been talking a little bit with Michael Pekka down here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's pretty good too.
Yeah. I was going to say he wasn't a bad centerman. That's for sure. So yeah, they use the same terms, like own the dot. Yeah. I definitely say I try to win it with quickness, because I'm not the strongest guy. So going strength on strength with some of the bigger centermen in our league is not something where I find much success. So definitely someone who, I guess, kind of both, own the dot, but also kind of finesse my way, to win it quick.
My advice would be to line up against Webby in practice on those faceoffs to boost the confidence. And
or Seth, as a goalie, he may not have won many faceoffs.
I'm fascinated by the fact that, you know, you're really honing your craft at center just now, and that it hasn't been a regular thing for you over the years. But when we dive into those years and years and years ago, I couldn't help but notice on Elite Prospects that it says in your, I'm assuming, hometown of Sherwood Park, one of the first teams you played for was the Sherwood Park Sabres. Is that correct? Okay,
yeah, way back.
So what was their jersey? Was it the goat head style, or was it the blue, like the traditional Sabres look we have now?
No, I mean, neither, honestly. It was just the organization was called the Sherwood Park Kings, and I guess our team name, we just got the Sabres. So we had a king logo, like a crown on our jersey, had honestly nothing to do with the Sabres. That was just the name of the team. I think it was one of those where you get to vote for a team name as a team, and we were probably 10 years old or 11, and I think that's what the vote went to.
I want to go back to like when you were playing in Alberta, because here in Buffalo or in Rochester and Western New York, I mean, you don't have to drive too far. You drive an hour or two, you're in Syracuse, you're in Albany a few hours, you're in Pittsburgh, you're in, you know, and Toronto, Ontario, you get to play hockey with a lot of high level right around you. What was it like for you in Alberta? Did you have to go 6-7 hours one way or the other way? We hear all these stories before.
No, not at all. My travel was great. There's, you know, Edmonton's probably 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes from my house. Growing up in minor hockey, there was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 teams in Edmonton in our league. We played in another place called St. Albert. It was maybe 30 minutes away. So you had, you know, 8-9 teams within 30 minutes of you. So didn't have to really do any crazy long road trips. But
what about in juniors when you were in the AJ? Was that a little different there in the Alberta Junior Hockey League?
Honestly, not crazy. Travel was pretty good. We probably only stayed overnight maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I lived at home in junior. I didn't have to bill it or anything. Played in a team.
Oh, wow.
Played about 45 minutes from my house. So, you know, it was just easier for me to stay at home, not have to change high schools or anything. And, you know, we pretty much would hop on the bus, drive 2 hours, and then go home right after. So we didn't really have to stay overnight, which is something that's nice about the AJ versus, I guess, the WHL or some of the major junior leagues.
Where the stayovers would have been when you went extreme south?
Yeah, we'd go down south, you know,
to Brooks.
Yeah, once a year we'd play Brooks and I guess like some Calgary teams. So we'd usually stay over and play each of those teams once. But I think we only played each South team once at home and once on the road per year. So we only went there once, and then
And then so you're a Sherwood Park guy though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so for people that don't know the Edmonton landscape, you got Sherwood Park, St. Albert, and Spruce Grove are kind of the, you know, perimeter suburbs, if you will. How did you end up in Spruce Grove and not Sherwood Park when it came to the AJHL?
Well, Spruce Grove had a pretty good track record of moving players onto the NCAA, and that was my goal. I think pretty much in the Alberta Junior League, I think in the last 10 or 11 years, only 2 teams have won the league. I think Spruce Grove's won, 5, and Brooks has won 5. Mm-hmm. So to go to, you know, a team like Spruce Grove and have the option to play there and have team success, as well as they've had, like I said, a good track record of moving guys onto the NCAA, I felt like that was a good spot for me to be if I wanted to continue playing past juniors. So that's why I ended up there and had a great coach, great experience. And, you know, we won the league my first year. So it was definitely the right decision.
You end up at Penn State. How many schools recruited you? Because it's always a feather in your cap, right? Oh, I was recruited by 10 schools, 5 schools. Some is like, it was only one, but that's the one I wanted. How did the process for you end up working, and then the decision to go to Penn State?
I talked to a lot of schools. I don't know an exact number about how many, I guess, offers I had, but I definitely had, you know, my choice of a couple of schools that I thought were going to be pretty good options, but decided on Penn State. I was able to go there on a fly down, and, you know, we got to tour the facility, got to see a game, and they were a newer program. So I kind of looked at their roster and thought I would have a chance to maybe go in there and play right away. I didn't want to go somewhere where I'd go in and be kind of buried behind, you know, a lot of, I guess, first round talent and stuff where being an undrafted guy wasn't going to get opportunities. So Penn State was a good, I guess, the best opportunity, I think, for myself. they had, great amenities there. We had access to the rink all the time. In the summers, they would keep the ice in, so didn't have to worry about, being off the ice for extended periods of time. So I thought for, opportunity as well as, development, I thought, Penn State had pretty much everything that I was looking for in a school.
Brandon, did it feel at any point when you were at Penn State that the program, because of the name on the arena, has a connection to the Sabres?
I think obviously I knew there was a connection, every preseason. I think pretty much the Sabres would play at our rink in that preseason, but I mean, it didn't really affect much for me day to day when I was there. It's just, I think everyone just knew, obviously, that he owned the Sabres and the Bills and everything. He was well connected in sports, but I think I kind of knew, that he puts a lot of time and effort into and money into the programs that he owns. So I felt like he'd be in good hands at Penn State. So
what led you to Buffalo then post college?
I thought it was a good opportunity with turnover, and, they needed some younger guys to come in and try to build a core here. And I was really excited about the direction that the team was moving in, and, felt when I signed that, I could hopefully be a part of that at some point moving forward. So I thought it was a good opportunity for me.
Now, the college free agent process is really different than the draft process, as you mentioned. So you play all 4 years at Penn State. At any moment in those 4 years, was there teams that were like, okay, we'd like to sign you maybe after your junior year? Or were you always thinking, I'm going to play all 4 years, then in the fourth year, you were the captain? Like, how did that process lead you to a contract?
I didn't really have any offers before my senior year, so it was pretty easy for me to go all 4 years. I think it was good for my development. We had probably our best team my senior year, so individually had a lot of success because the team was really good around me, and so yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer, I guess, for me, because I didn't really have an opportunity to leave early, that I was going to be there for all 4 years. So was
there any of your teammates that left early? I'm curious because you hear of these players in college that leave early, and then some of their teammates are like, man, like we built something, and then you're gone after your junior year, after your sophomore year. And that happens with, draft picks sometimes, but players that you've built a chemistry and a relationship with, would it have been hard to see some of those teammates leave maybe earlier than when you guys graduated?
Yeah, I was pretty lucky. Pretty much no one signed early during my 4 years there, but my fourth year, we had a pretty big senior class. I think we had maybe 10 or 11 guys in our class. And then the junior class below us was really good too. We had some good draft picks there. So kind of at the end when COVID happened, we had, 10 or 11 guys graduating. And then I think 2 guys signed early from our junior year because I think a lot of our core was leaving. So yeah, they decided to sign too, but I was fortunate. And I think that's why we had a really good team our fourth years, that no one left early, and we were all able to, play those 4 years together.
You mentioned COVID. How did it end for you guys?
It was pretty brutal. Honestly, we won the regular season, and so we had a first round bye the playoffs, or actually last weekend of the regular season, we also had a bye. So we pretty much practiced the bye weekend end of the year, and then we practiced for a whole bye weekend of playoffs, and then we're 3/4 of the way through the next week, ready to play our first playoff game, and everything got shut down. And it was obviously, pretty devastating. Like I said, we had a great team. We won our conference. So we were ready to make a good playoff run, but obviously that got unfortunately cut short.
Yeah. Wow. What's your favorite non-hockey memory from your time at Penn State?
Favorite non-hockey memory? I'd probably say, any of the football whiteout games. They were always night games, so you could go and tailgate with your teammates and your buddies, all day. I get to go to the games, 110,000 people at the stadium. So, those days were a blast. I'll say that.
Okay. So I didn't get to play college, but I'm learning about the college experience. When I was with the Flyers, we had training camp at West Point where Army plays. And I remember going into the gym and all the football records from bench press and squat and deadlift is there. And then lacrosse and then wrestling and actually the wrestling team was working out at the same time we were. I was embarrassed to say, hey guys, here I am, professional hockey players, been for 10 years, and I'm watching the wrestling team work out. Did you guys have the same kind of camaraderie with all the teams? And when you got into the gym, could you see all of the records around, even for the hockey guys?
In our gym, we're lucky. We had since it was a new rink the year before I got there, we had our own gym that only our team and the women's hockey team had access to. So we didn't have to share any gyms, but I know there's a couple of facilities where a bunch of teams use those and their records are up there. And, if we would go through and look at those records, you kind of just, turn your head away, like those numbers are a little better than mine. That's for sure. But yeah, some of those numbers are crazy going into some of the football gyms and stuff. You walk in there, you got 30, squat racks everywhere. And you look at the numbers and the squats and deadlifts.
Even the speed, like, they have the 40-yard dash and you're thinking, I could beat this 300-pound guy and they still go faster than us.
No chance. Yeah. That's why hockey was the right sport for us. Some of those guys are freak athletes. There's no chance. Guy like me making a sport like that.
Yeah, the gym is ridiculous, Marty, at Pagula Ice Arena. That's where we always, when we would go down for those Sabres preseason games, we would always conduct the post-game media interviews in there. And you're just like, you're absolutely in awe of the facility. It's so cool. Did your family visit you much while you were there?
Usually once, maybe twice a year. My parents are teachers, so they obviously work Monday to Friday, so it's pretty tough for them to get down. Obviously, like State College is not the easiest airport to fly into. It's usually
only when you're on the charter, Brandon. Only when you're on the charter.
Exactly. I miss those days for sure. But yeah, it's pretty tough for my parents to get in. We only play Friday, Saturday, so they'd miss the Friday game if they were able to come most of the time. So sometimes they'd take Friday off of work, leave Thursday, come up, but it was maybe once, maybe twice a year.
So did your brother come down though and visit?
No, he didn't get a chance to. No.
So, but now he's at Colorado College, right?
Right. Yeah. So he kind of followed the same road I did, played for the same junior team that I did, won a championship there with them like I did. And then now he's at Colorado College and, he loves it there. So unfortunately he wasn't able to visit me ever because of the schedule, obviously in junior, but he's doing all right for himself. That's for sure.
I have a couple questions. One, I remember my parents were not teachers, but man, did they ever stress the importance of schools and grades? And I couldn't miss school like for a tournament. And I had to really push my mom to let us go on a Friday to play games. Anyway, how was that for you? Like, obviously you went to Penn State. You're probably a smart kid. You had good grades, but was it school one, hockey and other sports too? And when did that change a little bit?
Or
it still hasn't changed maybe.
Yeah. No, I definitely think school was always right up there, with hockey. I think my parents definitely had to push my brother, I'd say, a little bit more to take care of his school. I was usually, or at least I'd like to think anyways, the more responsible one out of the two. I'm sure my brother would tell you different, but they definitely would make sure we're getting our school done, or else, no hockey for us. That's for sure.
And my other question is, so there's a couple of years between you and your brother? You're a 98, he's a 2000?
2000, yeah.
Okay. So there was 3 years between my brother and I. And I remember just beating the crap out of him, playing mini hockey and street hockey or backyard hockey or whatnot. And then he got bigger than me. And then I just quickly learned that I needed to shut up or he would beat me up as well. What was the dynamic between you and your brother? And was that competitiveness that maybe you guys build between the two of you separate you and were able to give you that competitive nature at the college and pro level?
Yeah, we were definitely really competitive, playing mini sticks or street hockey or just video games downstairs. I would definitely say my brother was always a little bit smaller growing up, and I'd say he learned to, I guess, cheat or play dirty. I'd say always growing up, I'd always try to take it easy because he was smaller than me, but we're playing mini sticks. He would not be afraid to throw a slash on the fingers or like blatant too. Like my parents would sometimes get mad, like they could clearly see he was hacking me on the hands or something like that. So, I'd try to be nice to him. He'd play dirty, and then we'd get in a pretty good scrap, but I'd say we were pretty competitive growing up.
The competitiveness has been very much on display here, and I wonder what it's like being in your in your position, you come out of college, you're on a 2-year entry-level contract. So now you're in the second and final year of that, meaning, as you always do as a pro, you've got a lot to prove. But whether you're fully aware of this or not, Brandon, like, I think there's definitely a lot of Sabre fans who are finding out here in the last month, like, wow, what's this Brandon Biro all about? Like, he's posting really good numbers. And so has it trickled down to you? Do you feel that you are even more of a prospect? I think, we always believe in ourselves, but have things changed a little bit for you here of late?
I think maybe a little bit they've changed. Obviously, like you said, everyone, has that end goal in mind, and, whatever path you take there is, I'd say for most players, isn't just a straight line right there. Most guys don't come in and I guess light it up in the A right away and then go straight to the NHL or go straight to the NHL. So, there were some growing pains, I'll be honest, especially this last year. And then being hurt at the start of the season this year, there were some ups and downs early on. And I was having a little bit of a tough time finding my way and kind of coming back from an injury, getting over the mental hurdle of being injured. Obviously, anyone that has been hurt, when you first start coming back, it's in the back of your mind. Oh, I hope I don't hurt this again. So I think kind of once I started to heal up a little bit, I was able to kind of relax, play my game. And I guess kind of by default, we've had some guys, like I said, get hurt, and kind of opened up the door for myself to kind of show what I can do. And I guess show a little bit more of the offensive side of my game that I guess was lacking a little bit, maybe at the start of last year, whether it was confidence or still getting used to speed or strength. I think that that part of my game is kind of coming along like I knew it kind of had to be if I wanted to be successful at this level. So definitely happy with how things have been going recently.
So a little different. So also, because you're a college player that went 4 years to college, you were 22 years old when you signed your NHL contract or your entry-level deal with the Buffalo Sabres. It was only a 2-year deal. Most entry-level deals are 3-year deals. And even sometimes there's a year or two that slides because maybe you signed it, you're still in juniors or whatnot. You had a 2-year deal. This is the last year of your entry-level deal. You're a restricted free agent at the end of the season. Does that weigh? And I don't mean to add pressure. I think you're doing unbelievable this year and you're doing great. But does that weigh on you a little bit, knowing that you don't have that third season, but you could hit your next contract and get running again? Like, how is the dynamic with that?
I think it's kind of at the beginning of the offseason when I was training and stuff, I wasn't really focused on that. I was, just confident that I was going to have a good season and things were going to work out well. But, once I got hurt and didn't start off as strong as I wanted, I will be honest, it did creep into my mind a little bit. Yeah. Like, maybe things might not work out here like I had planned it to, but, kind of put that on the back burner, think, why am I thinking that? That's not going to help, no one feels sorry for you or anything. So I definitely think when things weren't going great at the start of the year, crept into my mind a little bit, but, put that away. And it's definitely not something I'm thinking about at all recently or now.
How was life on the taxi squad heading west?
Oh, it was nice. A day off in Vegas. So I definitely say there's worse cities to have to travel to. That's for sure.
What was it like for the whole group? I mean, how much did you try to enjoy the moment?
Oh, I definitely enjoyed it a lot. It's been pretty nice. Obviously, Buffalo's got a lot of guys from Rochester up there. We had a pretty big taxi squad go over. I think there were 7 of us. So a lot of familiar faces. It wasn't, like I was going to a team where I'd never, really met the guys. So, it was a lot of fun and being around a lot of teammates from here made it better.
How was your first way up the charter? I mean, you come into the charter. Were you nervous to find a seat? Did you ask around like, hey, is anybody sitting there? Like, how did that work out? Or even going for food, or did you let the veterans go first and then you went in, picked up the scraps? How was your first experience in that way?
Yeah, on the charter, obviously. Don't really know because you're one of the younger guys. So you sit at the front of the bus or first on the plane and just kind of stand there awkwardly on the plane. Like, do I sit here or is this seat taken? I know for meals, obviously, I'm going to just go last. I'm not going to even consider going up and getting food before some of the older guys. So
yeah,
wasn't too bad.
Did they try to suck you into the card game and try to like take your paycheck from you? Because that's what we used to do. We'd see a guy come up from Rochester, be like, here's a sucker coming on the plane. We're going to take him to the card game and I'll gang up on that poor kid. It's just a little like friendly veteran leadership that we would come through. But Anybody try to get you in a card game or anything like that?
Not on the plane, but before the game, and I was up the first time against the Islanders. We had about 3 hours to kill before the game at the rink, so played some cards there and lost a little bit of money. So I'm sure
it is not a tax write-off. You may talk to your accountant. You cannot write it off. So know that.
We'll see about that.
Hey, Brandon, any names from your junior days and or college days that have carved out a good path already and are, guys that you admire for their successes already?
That's pretty lucky growing up. Played with and against a lot of guys who are playing well. Probably the best person from my age group that I played against growing up and played a little bit with the Team Canada West is Cale Makar. Obviously, he's done all right. Growing up, I played spring hockey for probably 7-8 years with Tyson Jost. He was one of my best friends, if not my best friend, when I was growing up. So he's done pretty well. I played minor hockey with Sam Steele. He's playing with the Ducks. He's an unreal player growing up too. So I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch of names, but probably those are the 3 guys that I was probably closest. I guess I wasn't super close with Makar, but he's probably the best of the bunch that I grew up with. So happy.
Is it right that one of your goalies was Matthew Murray, who was part of the national championship team last year?
Yeah. Speaking of goalies too, another guy I played with, Carter Hart, in minor hockey too.
Oh yeah.
Completely forgot about that for a second. So he's done all right for himself too, I guess you could say.
Nice.
Yeah, he's done pretty good. When you were growing up and you had all these guys around you, I mean, Makar went to college. He probably could have played in the WHL and been a stud out there as well. You went to college. Was the conversation like between those type of, your friends or whatnot, like, what are you going to do? I think I'm going to college. Why? Well, I think I'm going to the Dub or whatnot. Like, was there a lot of those conversations going around?
I wouldn't say I talked to my friends about that really, just because they were kind of all set on the WHL, most of them. You don't really learn, or at least it might be changing now, I'm not sure, but didn't really hear much about the NCAA growing up. It was pretty much, I want to play, in the WHL for the Oil Kings because that was the team closest to me. So didn't really talk to them, but those guys I just mentioned, most of them were first rounders in the WHL. So it was like they were going to, get drafted, sign, and go there right away. So didn't really have much to talk to some of those guys about. Did
you get drafted in the WHL?
Yeah, I was pretty late. I think the end of the 10th round, like some teams were skipping picks already. And then I saw my name called. I was looking, keep refresh, and then start seeing skips. And then
people don't realize like what that means. So you're in the 9th round and they're going to go like, Saskatoon, you guys are up. No, we're done. We're skipping. We don't need any more picks. And then you got people that are undrafted that are waiting. They're like scrolling through social media or listening to it on TV or radio. And they're like, what about me? And then they go like, Brendan Weeking, you guys are up. No, we're skipping. So that has to feel like, man, like teams are skipping and I'm still here. Maybe more incentive to go to the college route right after you have that experience.
Yeah, exactly. I was a later pick, and I guess before my 16-year-old year, I got a chance to maybe sign the WHL, but I decided to not sign, and because I didn't think I was going to be able to play there anyway at 16. So there's really no reason to sign a contract. I didn't think if I was going to be there anyway, so just kept my doors open. Went to
keep your options open, absolutely.
Right, and then obviously I think it worked out. It was the right choice for me.
Yeah,
for sure. Brandon, what do your parents teach? What does your brother major in, and what did you major in?
I think my mom right now is teaching some science. They kind of switch every year with what they're teaching, whatever the school needs them. I think right now she's doing science and maybe some social studies. And my dad he's phys ed and math right now. And I mean, they don't teach at the same school, but they each run their own soccer programs at their own school.
Oh, wow.
They both grew up playing soccer, played, soccer at university level. So that's my sports background. And my brother is majoring in econ right now. I don't know how. I didn't think he was that smart, so he's doing all right for himself. But, I did.
Did you play soccer growing up?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, if your parents are big into soccer, that had to be something that was encouraged. And we know how big soccer is getting now in Canada with the men's doing what they're doing, the women's winning the gold. I mean, there's a lot of great soccer going on now in Canada.
Yeah, oh, for sure. My brother and I both played up until I want to say 14-ish, maybe 15, and then just really becomes too much of a commitment. Obviously, once you start to get to that level, you really got to make your choice. I always knew for myself it was going to be hockey, but soccer's definitely growing, and there's some pretty good players coming out of Canada now. It's exciting to see. So,
are you number one on the pregame soccer game? Like if you're like the Rochester Americans list top player, is it Brandon Biro at the top, and then everybody else follows suit?
I mean, honestly, I don't actually play soccer before.
You don't?
That sounds, but I definitely think I would be at the top if I did. So
you got to go in and just teach them. Say, hey, I'm coming in for one game, win one game, and walk out. You'll be the all-time, like 1,000 batting average. You'll be like the all-time.
Yeah, honestly, might have to try that.
All right, Brandon, Marty cut you off before you got to tell us what you majored in.
Oh yeah.
I did that. Just business management. Yeah, nothing crazy.
So you're going to run a sports team someday. I can feel it. Well beyond your career, by the way. Now, last one for me, because we tend to be fascinated by or fixated on, or both, how your captain goes about playing the game. How would you describe Michael Mersch and his goal scoring exploits this year?
I mean, he finds a way to get it done. I'll say that. I mean, it's crazy. I've never seen someone on their knee as much as him. And I don't know how he does it. Like, we've had guys try it in practice. I've briefly tried it. I feel like it's just worse, honestly. Like, I don't think I could do it in a game. I'd be better off just standing there and putting it in. But I mean, he does it and it works for him. I don't know if it works for everyone. Never seen anything like it in my life, but I don't think it's for me personally.
I think it works for Sidney Crosby a little bit. He's done that, but not to the effect, not to the same level as your captain. Your captain is actually trying to play goalie on the side of the crease half the time. Yeah. How did that one not hit him in the face the other day? I think they gave the goal to Jack Quinn when he had the 4-goal night, but like, I think you guys all saw in the replay, like he put his face in front of it and was hoping it'd go in the net.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you said, Crosby or some guys will do it. Like there's, situations where I think, it could be effective, but if he's anywhere around the crease, it's just instantly he's dropping to one knee, two knees, ready to score, which is something I've never seen. But yeah, if that puck, that Quinn shot didn't get deflected, yeah, he was going to eat that right in the chest. And I mean, it was still probably going to go in off his chest or face, but yeah, just to set up like that on one knee or two is kind of something that's different.
All right, Marty, you got any last questions for Brandon?
I got a couple this or that for Brandon, and it's the Olympics right now. So I would ask you, what do you prefer, the summer or the winter Olympics, this or that?
I like the Summer Olympics personally, especially now the NHL is not at this Olympics. Hockey's one of the only things I probably like about the winter one, so I definitely go summer.
Years ago, I did a luge this or that. So I'm going to ask you, if you had your choice of either go down that crazy like sliding hill, either in a bobsleigh, in a luge, or skeleton style, this, that, or the other thing, which one would you want to do?
Probably a bobsled, because you can get a teammate in that, right?
You have a 2 or 4 people bobsled. Yeah,
I get 3 people who know what they're doing, and I'll just go on for the ride.
You'd just be the one pushing and sitting at the back, put your head down and hope that the thing stays on the track.
Yeah, close my eyes till we get to the bottom and hope we do.
Okay. If you had to do like one of those big air, or just for a casual Sunday ski trip, ski or snowboard, which one, or you may have done both of them, which one do you like better?
I haven't really skied or snowboarded probably 10 years. I'd probably go skiing. Alberta's got some pretty good mountains for skiing.
Oh, definitely.
I'm sure something I'll pick up.
Definitely. I know you use white tape on your stick. Now, have you ever used black tape, or do you switch? And I guess this or that, sticking with the same color all the time, all year, or switch, weekly, monthly, whatever, floats your boat, this or that.
No, definitely don't switch. I use black pretty much up until maybe junior, I guess. Then I switched to white, and now it's the same tape job every day. Doesn't switch tape it. Every period after warmups, need a fresh white tape.
Okay, so that was my other thing. Like, do you walk in and that's the first thing you do, tape your sticks? I was the kind that I taped them for the game, and then I let them be. Goalie's different too, but I let them be for practice. I never touched them for practice. Too much effort. But is it the first thing you think about when you come in the building? Taping your stick or going to get changed? Like, what is your mindset?
go get changed, put on my hoodie, workout stuff, and then for games, go into the stands, tape my stick, or if it's here, just tape it right away. Just to feel a fresh tape. You just need it. So I'm always out there. You'll never see me go out there without a fresh tape job.
Wax or no wax, this or that?
No wax, just full coverage of the blade, tape your toe, tape the whole thing.
Scissors at the end?
Yeah, scissors at the end.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's heel to toe for you, right? You got pretty much the whole blade covered up?
Yeah. Heel to toe, full coverage.
Okay. Well, that's good, Duffer. That's what I got.
Musical selections these days, what's popular for you?
Big country guy. Listen to a lot of country music. I really like everything country. I like rap, EDM. I don't know. I'm not super picky, but I probably listen to country if I'm just hanging out mostly.
Refresh my memory. What's the big concert festival in the middle of Alberta?
It's called BVJ, Big Valley Jamboree.
Big Valley Jamboree. You been?
No, I haven't. I don't know. I feel like for most people, it's not as much about the music, so I haven't.
It is for Duffer. Duffer goes for the music.
Yeah, that is very well said, Brandon. That is so accurately said. All right. We have exhausted your time. You have been a wonderful guest, and may your success story continue. We will be watching. Thank you so much.
Good. Thanks, guys.
That was really great to hear from Brandon. I love the sibling rivalry. I love how you phrased yours, and I brought a little more edge out of him. And we'll definitely look forward to not only tracking Brandon in his career, and we'll keep an eye on Jordan as well at Colorado College. Marty, let's get into our 3 stars from the past week.
Well, I'm like a big kid. So when I think of last week, I think of the All-Star festivities. And for me, it's about the skills competition, not so much the game, the skills competition. So my 3 stars are going to be around the skills competition. Number 3 star, I'm going to give it to Jordan Kyrou. I knew he was fast, but to go out there and to beat Connor McDavid and Dylan Larkin and get a 13.550 on his lap, that was pretty good. So Jordan Kyrou, you get my 3rd star. My 2nd star, I'm going to give it to Sebastian Aho, who went 4 for 4 in just over 10 seconds. That was really impressive with the accuracy shooting. Darlene finished 4th. He went 4 for 5 in just over 17. I think. 4 for 6, maybe. Anyway, he got 4 targets in 17 seconds, which was really, really good. He beat Draisaitl, who went for like 30 seconds or whatnot. But the number 1 star, and which has to be the most difficult and potentially embarrassing event, is the hardest shooter. Because if you go out there and everybody's got 101, 103, 104, and then you go at it with a 97, you are being laughed out of there. And all 4 of the hardest shooters this year went above 100 miles an hour. It was Victor Hedman, Timo Meier, Tom Wilson, and Pelech with the New York Islanders. So those 4 all went over 100 miles an hour. I got to give him credit for that. It used to be where going over 100 was rare. It was Al McInnes, Al Alfredi, and nobody else. All 4 of them did it this year. So they are my 1st star.
Well, what an easy segue, because you're talking hardest shot, and you've lived being the last line and having to face those shots. And you also know that no goalie wants to really be a part of the All-Star festivities. And the ones I'm going to talk about certainly haven't had that opportunity because they've played very little. But what they have done is they have played a role in the number that is 107 at this moment goaltenders who have played in the NHL this year. Every time we add another, it furthers the record that much more. And we see no end in sight, quite frankly. We don't know what this end number is going to be in the 2021-22 season. But sometimes these goalies come and go rather quickly. Obviously, a lot shorter time in the NHL than they would like. But let's celebrate some of these guys' moments. So I went with goaltenders of the 107 who have played 10 games or less. Okay. And there's 3 names that really stood out, with an honorable mention to Spencer Martin in Vancouver, because he went 1-0-2 with a 958. But among this group, there's only 2 guys that have 2 or more wins that are unbeaten. One of them is Michael Hauser, who went 2-0 and was ready to hit the road for Buffalo, only to have a positive COVID test. And now he's back in Rochester. Great job by Michael Hauser in his 2 games with the Sabres. Then there is Charles Lindgren with the St. Louis Blues, 5-0 amidst a team that was, having injuries in the crease. There's still a little uncertainty moving forward. Is it going to be Husso? Is it going to be Binnington? just tip the cap to Lindgren for his 5 perfect appearances. And then there's one of these guys that's going to be counted on more, and you never know just how much he will be counted on by the time this year is said and done. And that's Pavel Francouz. And he ties in with all the others because it's not been easy. Injuries, missed opportunities with Colorado, one of the teams that is the best in the NHL. And right now he has harnessed it 7-1 and proving very much to be the reliable piece that they were hoping to have with Darcy Kemper. So just a little nod to your position, Marty, and the guys that, they deserve to cherish the victories because they're not easy to come by at that position.
I'm going to give Pavel Francouz the first star just with the setup, the gear that he had with those Colorado third uni. It looks a lot like the old Colorado Rockies logo, but he had them on both pads. A great setup of custom Vaughn. The goalie nerds out there like I am, they want to make sure that I get it right. They're not Bowers. They're not CCM. They're not Through. They're not Warriors. They're not Bryans. They're Vaughns. And they look so sharp. So I got to give credit where credit is due, and a great setup for Pavel Francouz.
Yeah, that is first star worthy just on the gear alone. Marty, great stuff. Great to have Brandon Biro, and great to have you with us on Instigators Overtime, presented by Seneca Resorts and Casinos. We'll see you soon.